Let's just get straight into this, as this video is already long enough. My name is Celina and I'm a Danish artist. In this video I will share my absolute best tips for painting a portrait. I've been drawing and painting portraits for 15 years. In this video I'm showing you a part of the process of painting this oil painting. When I make my oil paintings I work in many layers, and for this painting I have made 3 layers. And you will see me painting the third and final layer of the face. And in the end I will also show you the final painting with the background done too. This video is semi-real time. I have cut out most of the times where my hand left the painting. In real time this process took me 2 hours. You can choose to watch this video and study my brush strokes, or you can just listen to it as a podcast whilst you may be painting on something yourself. My first tip is that, first of all, drawing a portrait and painting a portrait is very much the same thing. Of course, with painting you have the whole color dimension as well that you don't have to think about when drawing with a normal graphite pencil. So my first tip is to practice drawing portraits to start with, because if you can't draw a portrait then you can't paint one either. My second tip is that drawing people or objects realistically is learning how to see, and it's also learning to make your eyes communicate with your hand. This is a skill that will take time and practice to be good at, but an essential element of being able to really see what something looks like, see all the details, all the shapes and colors, is to draw from your right brain. Your left side of your brain is the analytical side. This side keeps the time, things in numbers and words, things realistically, and it's also where your self-criticism lives. So don't listen to it if it tells you that you can't draw. It's not the truth, it's just a self-limiting belief that needs to be worked through. Your right side of the brain is the creative side. When you are creating from your right side of your brain, you are in the flow state, you tend to forget time, you have more fun, and you are able to see more clearly what something really looks like. There are different little exercises you can do to get into your right brain, and it's not difficult. You can start dancing, humming, you can try visualizing anything, you can doodle, you can draw something upside down. It's easy to find more examples of these exercises online. So that is my second tip, to make sure that you're creating from your right side of your brain. You can use these exercises when you start drawing or whenever you feel yourself doubting your abilities to draw something. My third tip is that a part of learning to see is also to spend a lot of time looking at something and really paying attention to every little detail. I always tell my students to spend 80% of the time looking at the person or thing they are drawing, and only spend 20% of the time looking on the actual drawing. That is how I paint and draw. Something quite funny actually happened to me after having spent so much time painting portraits of people from all over the world. I'm very interested in learning about different cultures and ways of life. That is also why I studied anthropology. And after I have spent so much time now looking at people from so many different cultures and really paying attention to all the little details in their appearance, I've become really good at guessing the ethnicity of different people. I even sometimes can pick out the exact tribe someone is from, but this is just a fun little side skill I got after having painted portraits so many times, and I can guarantee that you will begin to look at people differently when you start painting a lot of portraits, and you will probably begin to appreciate the many different ways people look. My fourth tip is that something that can oftentimes block us from painting or drawing a person the way they actually look is the fact that we have a preconceived idea in our heads of how a head should look like, how a nose should look like, how eyes should look like. And these ideas can cloud our judgment of the truth. A way to combat this, if it's something you are struggling a lot with, is to flip the picture of the person you are painting and your actual painting upside down, and just paint upside down for a little while until you get back on track again, because then your mind will think you are painting an abstract. Of course, this is not possible if you're painting or drawing someone from life. Then instead you can step away about 5 to 10 steps and look at your painting from a different perspective. You can also take a little mirror and look at your painting in the mirror. This is a very quick way to see if something is off with your proportions. I would actually recommend that you step away from your painting and look at it from a distance quite often to make sure that it's working out and you're going in the right direction. You can even put a timer on your phone every 10 to 15 minutes to remind yourself to do this. My fifth tip is that I would also recommend that you study human anatomy and try drawing the human skull to understand the way that human heads are actually constructed. This will help you better understand where everything goes in a portrait. My sixth tip is that in terms of colors, if you're painting someone in realistic colors like I do here, you need to realize that there are a lot of different colors in our skin. It's not just beige or brown. It's also sometimes have a hint of green, blue, red, yellow, purple, and any color really, if you look close enough. And acknowledging this in your painting will highly excel your portraits. Oftentimes our skin is a little more green and blue around the eyes and mouth. And this rule goes for every skin tone out there. It's not only white people who have several colors in their skin. My seventh tip is that when you want to mix skin colors, my tip is to look at the exact spot of the portrait you want to make a color for and see what color it's leaning towards. If it's leaning mostly towards red, you then take some red and mix it with a little bit of green because it's the complementary color to neutralize it. And then just add white till you get the desired color. And you need to do this with every little spot in the portrait, so you will end up mixing a lot of colors. And always remember that if you have mixed a color and think it looks a little too this or the other, then you can always neutralize it with its complementary color. So my tip is to make sure that you understand the complementary colors. You can even arrange your palette in a way that will make it easier for you to remember. So start with yellow, then orange, red, green, blue, and then purple in the end. My eighth tip is that when I paint a portrait, I start with drawing the face in either pencil or my paintbrush using only one color. Oftentimes it's quicker for me to do it with the pencil, but it's more fun with the paint. Then I do a rough layer where I place the different colors in the places they need to go without spending too much time on it. But this will help me later when I make the final layer where I refine all the details, mix the exact right colors and lay down every brush stroke with intention. This layer you see me working on now is the final layer where I'm being more careful to make it look pretty and correct the last proportional mistakes I had. My ninth tip for painting portrait is to save the little details to the end, to make little shines in the eyes and the little hair strands that are flying around at last, because you don't want to have to be careful not to cover them up as you are painting the rest of the face. My last tip is to not be afraid of messing up. Make a lot of ugly portraits and finish your paintings and drawings even though you don't like them, because each piece will have a lesson for you and maybe it will end up looking good in the end, because every piece also have to go through the ugly phase when nothing looks right before it's finished and gets to look its best. So these are my 10 best tips for painting portraits. Like everything else, painting a portrait is a skill you need to work on consistently for a long time to be good at. So don't be frustrated with yourself if you don't like how your skills are right now. You will improve with time. I hope you like these tips. I'll just quickly summarize them. First tip, practice drawing portraits and don't think about the colors at first. Just Think of the shape and values. Second tip, make sure you are painting from your right side of your brain. If you're finding yourself doubting your abilities, then start humming to yourself, dance a little, or look up some different right brain exercises for other examples. My third tip is painting is learning to see. Spend 80% of the time looking at the person or object you are trying to paint, and spend 20% of the time looking at your painting. My fourth tip is that if you have a difficult time getting the proportions right, then step back about 5 to 10 steps, or look at your painting in a mirror to see it from a different perspective, or flip the painting and the reference upside down and paint like that for a little while. If you're painting from a live model, then obviously you can flip them upside down, but you can use the other methods. My fifth tip is study human anatomy by drawing a skull. Sixth tip, make sure you're paying attention to all the color nuances in the face. Seventh tip, mix skin tones by mixing the complementary colors together and add a little white until you get the desired color. Eighth tip, start loose and work around the face all the time. Don't let yourself get stuck in one area too soon. Ninth tip, save the details to the end. 10th tip, don't be afraid of messing up and please finish your paintings even if you don't like them. Every painting needs to go through the ugly stage, so you might like it in the end, and if you don't, it will probably teach you something anyway. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe. This painting is called Intertwined and it's for sale. I will soon put it on my website, but if you don't see it yet, then you can contact me if you're interested in adopting it. I also have a ton of other paintings and prints on my website that you're welcome to check out. And also please come say hi on Instagram. I always love it when you take time to do that, but thank you again so much and see you in the next video.